I'm Barb Dye. I'm the president of Combo, and have been for way longer than I should have been. And David rolls his eyes. And so this will be our second half of the meeting. This is Clark Hagan. He's our board member. He's also being our host. And he'll be introducing our next speaker. And like I said, if you haven't grabbed something to munch on, grab it real quick. You need a bottle of water?
I'm great.
You're great. I know that. But Clark Hagan, who's going to tell us who he is and what he does.
Well, thank you for the introduction there. I appreciate that. My name is Clark Hagan. I am a Colorado native. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer-engineer. I actually won a Grammy Award winner, actually in 1996 for a song I did with Chet Atkins that you all hear on TV, and it's the insurance commercial with the finger picking thing. The guy goes, "Have you checked your insurance today?" And it's going down, tick, 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 tick. That's something I do. I was 26 years old, so that's kind of my claim to fame here. I don't know if it gives me authority or anything like that, but anyways. So today I'm really excited to have our next host up here today. Alex Teitz is going to talk to us about his company, FEMMUSIC, and I'm really excited about what you're doing about is getting behind the women and their music and everything, because I, as an audio engineer and a producer, I'm helping support a couple projects that are going on, and one is called WHAM, and it's called the Women Audio Mission, and then the other one I know is the soundgirls.com here, which is helping to get women to be engineers and to do things like that. That's supposed to be a men's run business, which is really great. So I really want to applaud you on what you're doing and everything. I really can't wait to hear about what you're doing. So could you start something, just give me a little history or about when this started and what got you excited about all this, and go from there?
Of course.
Awesome.
All right, so I actually need to bring notes with me. Sweet. Because if I don't, I will go on and on and on and on. So FEMMUSIC started in 1999. I really thought we were going to last like a week because it was 1999 and the online presence was right before the dot-com bust. So I would look around and everyone had tons of money, tons of content, and not much else. And what happened is I had written for a zine, had started making introductions around town, trying to figure out how to get access, and was figuring I was just going to be writing about the local scene. And then all of a sudden, dot-com bust happened, and 6 months later, Atlantic Records contacted me and said, "We have this Canadian artist, would you like to interview her?" And I was here like, "Oh, okay. How do I do an interview? Internationally." And things took off from there. And since I've been doing it, we've interviewed Yoko Ono, Nelly Furtado, Janice Ian. As I was telling Tatum earlier, at my peak, I would go to 200 plus shows a year, do 100 plus interviews, and not remember what sleep was. These days have slowed down. I now work with a bunch of photographers, and we are very much a live music magazine, because you can only tell what music is like live. So much of what I get with press releases and everything else is that, okay, this was done in the studio, and I don't know anything else about the music itself. And magic can be done in the studio, but it doesn't tell me what you are like as an artist. So yeah, we started in 99. The focus on women was specifically done because around 96, 97 was a thing called Lilith Fair. And I attended it and was amazed. And at that time, about 80% of my collection was women artists, including Kate Bush, Tori Amos, a bunch of those. In addition, I had discovered some underground groups in sort of that baby internet stage, and came across those groups that were talking about, oh, you've got to see this artist, you've got to see this artist. And I was the one who would drag my friends saying, we're going to see an artist, I haven't heard a single thing, because, I can't buy the album because they'll need to send it, and I'll take 2 weeks, and the show will be done by then. So let's go blind to the show and see what happens. And that's still very much how I am as a person. I'm addicted to music. I will go see anything, anytime, to see what's there. But yeah, the women's core of it is, I hear something in women's music that a lot of times isn't in what I hear with men's music, which is, I describe it as the country model, which is cars. It's sort of that basic thing of the bro music almost, of saying, you know, it's parties, it's cars, it's all of this. And so this is what their music is. And with a lot of women's music, and my criteria is there has to be one woman in the band. They don't need to be the lead singer. Because if there's a woman in the band, typically it changes the chemistry of the band, the songwriting of the band, and what comes out.
That's a very good point there. Very, very good. Good, awesome. So, what do you find, like, as far as is there certain genres that draw you to what you want to go see? Is it more singer-songwriters? Is it Americana stuff? Is it country stuff? What we call bro country for the ladies? I'd like to almost see some girl do like bro country, like I'm driving my truck and I'm drunk and all that stuff. It'd be kind of funny. So tell me, I'm sorry about that, but tell me, like, what genres are you really more interested into and stuff like that?
Of course. So I'm into all genres. The one that I still need to practice on is classical. Everything else, you know, I will follow anything. At times I will go to like the heavy sludge metal show, followed by a jazz show the next day. And we'll listen to sometimes like the 20 or 30 songs coming across my desk in a day. It'll be EDM, it'll be pop, it'll be hip hop. And yeah, for me, the genre doesn't make a difference. It's what's in the music that attracts me. And so yeah, I will go to any show. I will send my photographers to any show. Most of the time I give them the option, but for me, I want to see something different. Because I've been here 30 years now, and so I've seen the scene change enough. And also, I've had to change a lot as a writer over time, because when you start out, you're wanting to get that stuff that you grew up listening to. And then all of a sudden you say, oh wait, there are these kids doing stuff that I haven't heard stuff from before. And then the kids are doing stuff that I'm not sure if I like that yet. And then all of a sudden it's the next group of kids. And the next ones. And all of a sudden you're saying, okay, that stuff that 10 years ago I despised, because it wasn't music, is suddenly amazing music that's everywhere. And so, with the genres and with what I'm looking for is, I want to go for the artists I'll see and find today that 10 years from now I can say, 3 albums ago, when I got your demo, I heard something there that said, you know, there's longevity here, and you're going to evolve into something better. You're going to become an artist that I'm not going to be the only one who knows who you are.
Awesome, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about how can artists get in touch with you? Because you're actually helping, you're almost doing what Tyler's doing with promotion and stuff like that. You've got your own magazine, correct? Am I getting this right? That's awesome. And so what can artists do in order to get you some material? And do you worry about the details like Tyler does and things like that? Because I'm sure you're probably getting a lot too. And how do you go about deciding on who you want to choose for that?
So yeah, Tyler and I have a lot in common, as do most music editors, where we wake up every morning and, I mean, I'll be at a show and I'll check 5 emails that have come in, Sometimes there's newsletters, things I need to pay attention to. I don't do show announcements most of the time because it is too much. And since my focus is international, it's really too much. But yeah, for me, when I get stuff sent to me, I want it to be a press release, an event release, a single release, something that says there's at least the glimmer of the story. In addition, I am a person who really likes that old thing called a bio, because I can tell you right now, there are some local bands I'm interested in. I go to their Facebook page, I cannot find any contact info, there's no bio. And so I want to actually see them live, but I have no idea of what I'm going to get. And quite honestly, they're starting out a peg lower because that information isn't there. And since I'm live music, I will typically email a lot of bands before I go see them. Normally just gain access, and with the larger acts, you're dealing with publicists all the time. With the smaller acts, depending on the show, I will do what I call scouting, which is I won't announce that I'm going to a show. I'll just say, you know, I'm really curious about who this artist is. And it's a small cover tonight, it's the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's the Sunday or Tuesday nights at Lions Lair,
Oh, yeah.
where it's you and the 3 other drunks.
Yeah.
And you're saying, what is this person like? Because if they're playing Lions Lair, then we might be seeing them at other venues, and what are they going to become? But yeah, I've stopped doing show reviews because I found out when I do show reviews, I only find the negative. All of a sudden you are listening to the music and you're saying, oh, they missed that part, or they did this wrong. And it had me not liking music anymore, because you can't enjoy the music when you're pointing out every single fault. Returning to your question, press releases about the events, what your music is, where to find it. I mean, the publicists I deal with, we get SoundCloud, we get Spotify, we get YouTube, all the time. I mean, I keep a running list every day of what I need to listen to, or if I haven't listened to it, just to see if there's something there. And yeah, it will typically be, all right, well, there are the 10 videos today, there are the 20 songs, and there are the 3 albums. And which of these, just based upon the writing alone in the press release, do I want to bite on to listen more? And I will say bluntly that with writing about music, sometimes I will be picking a story not based upon the music. I will be picking it based upon the story. And it's something that a lot of people don't think of a lot of the time, but yeah, if you get that weird thing out of nowhere, and you say, wow, that's a really interesting story that I bet a lot of people are going to pick up on, I'll give it a try. And then you may hear the music and say, all right, well, this is a few grades lower than I would have liked, but the story is something that may have legs to it. But yeah, for me, going to shows, I really am trying to see what I call, it's every level of development of artists. I describe it sort of as strata, where you begin and you're playing out, you don't have any material, then you have material online, then you have your EP, then you have your single, then you have your first album, then you have your touring, then you have your second album, and then for me, I find normally by the time you're reaching your third album, you've established your voice and have figured out what the studio is. But it takes a while to get that evolution, and some artists are quicker than others. Because normally, the first time you're in the studio, your first goal is, God, let's finish this damn thing now. And then the second you come back, you say, oh, now I need to correct all those mistakes that we made the first time around. Why don't I go there?
My turn, right?
Yeah.
That's good. No, I think, I got to tell you, you and Tyler brought up some great points that, as I'm sitting listening, tell me about, like, when I'm sending you my promo sheet or my bio or whatever, like, you guys got the time to go look up my name and go do searching on me and whatever. I need to give you that information already because, your time is very valuable. I think sometimes people forget about that, and that's a big thing that I think we do forget about. I feel like nowadays with the artist person myself that, you almost need to have a team because this marketing thing is what's such a big ploy. Because I have a question, I guess this is for both of you guys, because I'm intrigued by, we're making EPs or this and that, but I feel personally as a producer anymore, people don't want to pay for CDs or EPs anymore. They want their music for free. And it's very hard to have an artist and come and say, well, it's going to cost this much money for your business cards, that's your CDs, because to go in the studio costs money, to hire a producer costs money, but it is something that has changed in this whole field. And so even you just bringing up a video, oh my gosh, now I got to do a video too. And so my question for both of you is kind of like, as far as product things, this is something I've kind of been trying to look at, because when I try to guide my artists I'm working with, I'm trying to help them make business decisions too, so they can be successful. And I always feel like, sometimes now I'm better off to spend money on a really good song and a video to send you instead of an EP or an LP where I'm doing 10 or 15 songs, or here's my 10 or 15 songs. I'd be better off to just do one of the best songs out of those 15 and make a video and send that to you. Is that a new way to start with publicizing myself now? Because what you just said about going on tour, and that's taken a long way to get there, with it all. So I'm just kind of curious as to what you see as a new trend that's going on now with artists that you see are sending you guys stuff. And if Tyler, you can pitch in a little bit after he's out of here.
So definitely. I mean, I come from the age of physical product. I come from searching through stacks of CDs, stacks of cassettes, looking for something unusual. These days, more and more I see more EPs sent my way before albums will come along. I see more and more singles being released and promoted as the event, or the video as the event. And I think that's great. I mean, a lot of times just having that one song, that one thing that people can catch on to, and so many publications do go after singles. I mean, I'm working with one right now that will come out at the end of the month that came across my desk, and I said, this is really good, this is really interesting. But I probably got 50 press releases about singles in the past couple of weeks that really didn't get that same fire for me. But yeah, in terms of production and everything else, I think it is that your beginning level is, that first single and first EP. It is no longer 10 songs, no longer 12 songs. And it disappoints me because, I still buy albums. I love listening to the entire piece because you can tell so much about an artist from how everything is put together. And I've spoken with I did a piece in 2017 on women in studio production and emailed over 20 internationally. And I'm getting ready to promote some of the WMA stuff coming out, and actually a good friend up in Canada, Kenny Starr, has a great film called Play Your Gender that addresses specifically women not being in the studio. And so, I'm wondering again. Let me give this back to you.
Well, I will say that in my career that there's been very few women in the other side of the glass. I would say that, but we do gotta say you gotta remember some of the greats like Carol Kay. There have been some amazing women and that have played a crucial part as far as studio musicians and everything like that. So, and I really do appreciate the fact that you're actually making this happen or something. Because I think there needs to be a lot more women recognized in this field. They're doing some great work out there, and also with the artists too, because I feel like coming from Nashville, I think being a female artist is probably the hardest battle to fight, because especially if you're going to Nashville, because they want to sign girls that are basically from 15 to 19 years old, and you got to be almost a model-looking thing, and it's very difficult. And I think so that it's being more aware of it and everything, that there's some really great artists out there. That it's not about the look and everything like that. And I think it's always it comes to the song, and I'll say this to all you songwriters out there: the best thing you can keep doing is to keep writing songs, because you never know when you're going to write that hit. And I've been around a few people that have had that opportunity, that they tell me that song came to me like in 10 minutes or whatever, and out of the sky, stuff like that. And that happens all the time, and you just never know when it's going to happen. So I would always encourage any songwriters to keep writing, because you just never know what even your subject matter, things like that. And I think that's a big deal. And so I'm so really appreciate the fact that everything you're doing is really it's amazing what your whole focus on is and everything. So are there any acts we need to be looking out for that come on?
So the big question I always get asked at shows or in person is, so who are your favorites? And it becomes my favorite of the week, because after that I'm going back before the magazine began, because everything's moving so quickly. And so yeah, right now, who is it? I was actually thinking of putting that question down on my notes and didn't. But yeah, there are some artists that I'm paying attention to. One artist I'm looking forward to seeing this week is Jade Bird, who's opening for Coulter Wall. And I've just been hearing amazing things. One of my friends was at South by and told me great things about her, so I'm dying to see what she can do. And yeah, what is it? In terms of sort of the bizarre acts that, for me, the stuff that is something different is one of the biggest, hardest things to come across my desk. And there's one band coming in May called Hyde, playing Mutiny, where I've heard the music, and I think the claws on chalkboard may be a little bit better, but God, I'm dying to see that show. Just because it's going to be breaking the convention of what I'm already seeing. Upcoming acts locally, I'm really interested in what Poppet is going to develop into. I think she has something there. Wilderness, I love them. We're going to cover them again on something, but yeah, they're already becoming the usual suspects for me. And usual suspect syndrome is something that I hate, which is every generation in the scene, in the music industry, has this thing of, these are the people that have hit the top for this point. And so everyone is drawn to them. The media is frequently referred to sort of as like a school of fish, because we'll all go in the same direction if you point us there. And yeah, we'll get in the same batch of people, and I look at that same batch, and if I see them for more than a year, it's just like, okay, I want to see you develop. But if you're a usual suspect, I will try to avoid you and probably still see you 4 to 5 times during the summer because you're out that much. And what I really want to see is someone I've never seen before. Because what I've never seen before may be the next one that's going to come into that place. And we'll have that learning curve. And there's excitement for me of seeing a learning curve, where I'll see someone saying, oh my God, this is so tough to make it through the set, and 2 years later say, oh my God, there's so much here, what happened in between? And yeah, and I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, Tyler and I get tons of material across our desks, but when you get something year 1, year 3, year 5, and you say, okay, yeah, they were playing a place that was barely a music venue to begin with, now they're doing a Bluebird show, yeah, maybe they've evolved enough that there's something there, that their style has changed, because we're always evolving. As writers, as musicians, as people, where we're trying to find something different, new, to bring something out. And so, yeah, there are many acts that I've passed on them on the past that have become great. There are many acts that I've seen at one time that I would say, oh my God, they're something that I will avoid. And then a year later, I'm biting my tongue saying, my God, that was actually something, and they're taking off. And media people hate missing that scoop. I mean, to this day, one of the best things that I had happen was I scooped Rolling Stone on Nelly Furtado. I had my interview up 2 weeks before theirs, and had bitten on it when it was her first album. And it was just like, I got it. And for me, my competition, I view it internationally. I still read print magazines. I still read Rolling Stone. I actually find stuff in the New Yorker sometimes. I find stuff in Maximum Rock and Roll has actually become one of my favorites. Just being, this is an old school zine with some of the most interesting punk that I'm not hearing about. And yeah, I look at them as competitors. I also do have online competitors myself who I encourage as well. If there's something that I know affects all of us, I will send it on to them in an instant and see if they'll bite. And I haven't had the same reciprocity from them, but it doesn't bother me, because I've been around long enough. When I first started, my first competitor tried to sue me my first year because of my name, and we ended up changing the name. But yeah, to me, when you have someone that you're fighting against, when you're trying to scoop something, when you're trying to find something that no one else knows about, and in the music industry, there is so much everywhere. I mean, when I started in '99, you relied on catalogs from the big companies, from the people who were actually distributing the physical product. Now, I don't have enough hours in the day to cover what is out there, to look at what's there, to find something, and the small amount that I find is a drop in the ocean compared to what's out there.
Awesome. It's really I love seeing how passionate you get about this. That's great, Alex. I swear. It's like, I'm going to get the scoop. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to break it. That's awesome, dude. That's what it's about. That's exciting. That's exciting. So do we have any questions for anybody out there, or for Alex, or not yet?
Who is
Okay.
it? Somebody maybe early on that you discovered that made it really big?
Oh, so yeah, so every year I try to think of people who are going to get signed.
Okay.
And I've had a number of years where I've been able to call it. Edison was one that I saw coming, because I just said, they are out there so much, they've got to be signed. And 2 months after I was thinking that, they were. One of my favorite bands in Portland just got signed to Kill Rock Stars, Lithics. And yeah, they're coming to town in June. They're a 4 or 5 piece that reminded me of like the early Talking Heads, where no facial expressions whatsoever in the tightest music you have ever seen. And so yeah, I'm still looking at the list on the indie artists for saying who's next to be signed. There were a ton of signings in January that blew me away. And I mean, it's Music Connection every year has their best signings of the year. And most of the time you can just see it coming so much. For us in media, when we see people who are always out there, one thing I do every year is I'll preview South by Southwest and I'll preview Canadian Music Week. And Canadian Music Week is Canada's version of South by, with 3,000 plus artists, 80% of them Canadian. And if I see the same names at both festivals, that's my first hint. If they're appearing in another festival after that, something's happening. And I mean, I'm not impressed with like the Coachella list or stuff like that. To me, it's already said they've reached that level already. And when an artist has reached that level already, God, I would love to interview, because, it will do something for my readership. But, I really want someone who's hungrier, someone who wants more and is still trying to learn what's out there.
I think that's a great point, that I think a lot of sometimes artists get stuck with their ego gets bigger than their skill level, as I would say. and I'm really always amazed at how, like, a few of the masters that I've worked with, how their ego is way below their skill level and stuff. And, so I even try to tell people like Chet Atkins, when somebody come in and try to, play with Chet Atkins, or he never would play guitar, he'd let you play guitar, and he'd study you playing guitar. And it's interesting, because I'm like, oh, there's a true master that's just trying to learn more, not said, oh, I know it all, let me show you how it's done, never saw the man ever do that. And I think that's something that, I think a lot of artists, we run into that problem too, where sometimes our ego gets a little bit bigger than our skill level. And that's what I think, like I said, the surprise thing, if you show up and you don't know what this is about, and I'll say like, wow, check that out, and you see it happen, that's exciting. I know you're talking about that, and that's an amazing thing, which I think is amazing. And I would always say, it's like, too, back to the songwriting things, I always think it's always good for songwriters to also write with other songwriters too, to learn the skill, because songwriting is a big skill that I think a lot of people take for granted. They think it's just putting poetry to music, and that's not it at all. There's a really skill to writing really hit songs and stuff like that. And I know we're all trying to write hit songs, right?
Yes.
Right. Anyway. Well, great. Well, Alex, I really appreciate it. I really think I love everything you've been talking about, and everything, and all the promotions you're doing, everything like that. And I think we get a round of applause for Alex, everybody. Any last minute for, look, did you get through all your lists here?
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, all right. Well, there's something that's important that we think we need to know about. I mean, if there is like a business thing, like is one little tidbit of advice you can give, the few artists that we have here today, like as far as that are some things they can do to give them a better chance of being noticed? Or is that in a marketing thing, or, what is that in?
The biggest thing on being noticed to me isn't social media, isn't the press releases, it's being out there. Because playing shows. Because if you're playing shows, I'm going to catch you one way or another at some time or another. And if you're playing shows, we're going to see it in the venue list, saying, hey, that same name is there. Who are they? And that may attract our attention as much as a press release or something else. And ideally, it's just like, yeah, about the time that we're saying, all right, I've seen you play 4 different venues in 2 months, and you've gone from the 3rd opening spot to the 2nd opening spot, yeah, that's going to make me want to see you more. And yeah. But playing out is the biggest thing, because what drives me nuts is, yes, all of those self-producers in the basement who never come out to see the light. Because music is an interactive experience. You have to be out there, you have to engage your audience, you have to bring new people in. And So yeah, play out and understand all the elements of learning what playing out is. And I'll add one of my, it's one of the things I describe of what is that perfect set. And I think Angela has heard this and probably Spencer a couple of different times, which is you're going to hit me 4 times with a perfect set. You start off with that first song, and it better be big. It's going to be the one that drags me in right off the bat. Then halfway through your set, you hit me with another one to make sure that I'm still awake, that I'm still paying attention. Then you're going to hit me with that one right at the end, and then if you have the time for the encore, that's when your biggest one hits. Because that's the one that is going to want us wanting more, wanting to say, gee, that was incredible. And in between those 4 points, have your ballads, have the deep songwriting stuff, because arrangements attract me, instrumentation attracts me. And so yeah, if you have that in those parts where it isn't the power anthem, where it isn't the thing where, gee, it is that great song that has my toe tapping, but you know, the lyrics are the same thing 80 times over. No, yeah, that isn't going to do it all the way, but if in between that you're having something that is really heartfelt and really has that element, that complete song, because, yeah, I mean, I describe it as usually the 3 to 5 minute love affair. Because in that time, you live a lifetime. And when you're done, you say, oh my God, what's the next one going to be like?
I want to hear that again.
Exactly.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for everything and some great advice. I really do appreciate you coming in and talking to everybody today, Alex. All right? Just one prize for Alex and for Tyler. Thank you, guys. You had some great information for us today. I really do appreciate you sharing all that with us. I think it's a big deal and everything. And I just on your last thing, I think sometimes the hardest thing for an artist to do is be the entertainer when we see them live. Because I agree with you. I think the whole live show is really where our money's going to be made now, and with our merchandise and stuff. It's not going to be on CD sales, and you can see that by looking how much Spotify wants to pay you for your download. Why couldn't it be a penny for a download? I think that would have been easier math, right? And everybody still would have thought they were getting ripped off. Anyways, all right, well, thank you so much for coming today, and now back to...
Last time I let him have the microphone. Really quick, when you talk about going out and seeing new people, one of the things that Annette and I have really enjoyed at the Durango Songwriters Conference is seeing the new people there, Rod too. But just to give you an example, about 3 years ago, some cute little girl got up there and played a song, and everybody loved it. And so Big Al Anderson, who owns a publishing company called Yellow Dog Publishing, talked to her, signed her up. She ended up talking to L.A. Reid, and the next thing you know, she's all over the place with some stupid little song called All About That Bass. So seeing Megan Trainor from doing just a little showcase thing, you know, and she actually had a copy of the gold record made and gave it to Jim Atterbury. So you see people like that all the time. That's always so much fun. And then on American Idol the other night, I still watch American Idol, love it. Maddie Poppy did a song called I've Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates. And at Durango a couple of years ago, they had Melanie, who wrote that song. You were talking about people that write songs. She said she'd been out on the amusement park somewhere. And she said it just kind of started bringing back childhood memories. You guys probably don't even know anything about these stupid skates. They used to be little metallic skates that would fit on your shoes, and then you had to have a key that would tighten the things up on your shoes. You didn't have shoe skates like they didn't do now. And so she wrote that song. It was a hit. So Maddie Poppy did it on American Idol the other night. Luke Bryan come along and said, I never heard that song before. Boy, that makes me feel old because I'm saying all the lyrics, you know. But I'm thinking, I wonder how much money now Maddie Poppy and Melanie are making off of that remake of I've Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates. And so that songwriting is such a major thing. So anyway, and the bottom line is without a song, you have no music. You have no music industry of any kind. So if you're a songwriter, boy, just hang in there. Something will come along.
ASCAP's the week after next, too.
Oh, ASCAP, the songwriting thing there?
Yeah, the I Create.
I Create, yeah, and that's out in LA. And you get to, if nothing else, you get to meet other people.
Well, you can
of
sign
like-minded.
up, if you're an ASCAP member, you can sign up and pay like a couple $100 and get access to all the videos from all the talks and stuff. So you don't have to go out there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's fun to go out.
Yeah.
Expensive, but fun.
Yeah, it's fun because you get to see like John Mayer and Justin Timberlake and
Yeah.
Quincy Jones and all those people. That's the panels that are at that show.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
With that, I can't think of anything. I think the only two we missed getting signed up on our inner sheet there. We appreciate all of you coming out. If you haven't, hopefully we'll get you to the newsletter. If not, we're on Facebook too. It's under Colorado Music Business Organization, which is the acronym for, no, COMBO is the acronym for that. So thank you all very much for coming. You want, grab an extra cookie on the way out the door. I don't want any more. Clark doesn't need any more. Talk to each other.